You know, it would be really nice if this loading screen had music. This happens every single time. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the safe boat. We're gonna claim our payment. Yep. Oh, we have one unread message. First, let's claim our payment. Hey. Cool. 1,300. Do you have any pay data? Hey. Only 150, but still. Huh. Okay. Do we have any more? Nope. Nothing to post today. Inbox. See you've solved the problem. Kindly will be pleased. Oh, cool. Sweet. Okay. So, now let's go have a sleep. Not that this is the best idea, but let's have a sleep. For the first time since you got to Hong Kong, you wake up feeling well-rested and satisfied. Flexing your limbs feels glorious. It's as though you've spent hours cramped up in a confined space and you can finally stretch your legs. Oh. You push yourself up and touch your feet to the ground, but something stops you short. Your mouth. Something's wrong with your mouth. Do I want to bite our fingers off? Let's do the tongue. You let your tongue move over your teeth until you reach the problem area, a molar on the upper left side. It feels strange. You apply a little pressure to the tooth and it slides free from its moorings. It's as if nothing was ever holding it in place to begin with. Ugh. As the tooth comes free in your hand, an image etches itself into your mind. A great chamber, hazy in form and outline, clouds of red mist that fill the air, perfuming it with salt and copper. Great columns stretching up from the ground to pierce the sky, and above it all, the enormous grinding gears of a broken machine. In the distance, you can hear a sound, a desperate, frantic pounding, something enormous at the door, many somethings all desperate to get in, scrabblings and scratching and scraping, but unable to find purchase. Why didn't we just have this as a dream? Like, the way in is locked. You feel a tremendous sense of accomplishment. You've done it. The others are trapped outside, blind and starving, unable to pass through the door. The chamber and what lies beyond it are yours. A shrill giggling noise fills the air, like the laughter of a small child, mixed with the shivering screech of countless violins. The sound reverberates down your spine like an electric current. The intoxicating aroma of meat fills your nostrils. You must have been starving for 1,000 years. Soon it will be time to feed, and just like that it's over. The images fade, dissipating like vapor. Only the tooth in your hand remains. Okay, that makes literally no sense. Yeah. You enter Wu's cabin to find him moving through some sort of stretching routine. His muscles ripple as he flows tranquilly from one pose to the next. You look different, Kira. Do I? Yeah, like I flipped forward a few chapters instead of turning a page. I mean, you look like you, just not the you that I knew. Sounds like song lyrics. No more song lyrics for me. I gave up that dream a long time ago. Remember how Lockjaw used to make fun of my singing voice? He smiles. His teeth are perfect. He said I sounded like a frog with a heart on. Wow, that's... He shrugs. I thought my voice was distinctive. I mean, I'm no Maria Mercurial, but... So what about you? He gives you a once-over. How are you doing? What about that tooth thing? Don't know the city, thinking about Raymond. Get that, me too. It's one of the reasons I'm moving through my routine. It helps me center myself. Still think he's dead? Maybe. It's an improvement over no. We keep running, keep looking. He picks up an ammo box and begins using it like a dumbbell. And by the way, I gotta tell you, you're good at running this crew, Kira. There's something I still don't completely understand. What do you get out of being a Shadowrunner? I get to hurt people for money. I'm not a cog in the corporate machine. Let's see. What do we want to answer? We were kind of like just thrown into it in all of our previous excursions. So, I don't know. Keeps me firmly in the moment. Maybe it's... Do we enjoy it for the thrill or the freedom? Or seeing the world how it really is? I think we are firmly in the moment. But for how long? I mean, I'm with you. I love the danger. It jacks me like nothing else could. Makes me feel like I'm not just drifting from one useless experience to the next. But our lifespan's shorter by what? More than half, probably? Trade-off doesn't seem really worth it to me. At the end of the day, what are you? Shadowrunner. Disposable asset. Sinless. Slithering through the cracks of society. Doing jobs that are too dirty for the corpse to do themselves. You don't even appear on a corporate balance sheet. Row, fight the power. Never heard a story where a Shadowrunner did something other than kill someone, steal something, or perpetrate some other sort of shady shit. Good luck with that, though. If you're thinking about getting chrome, I want to talk about us. Rests his eyes on you for a moment, his face neutral. Yeah, I guess now's as good a time as any. You start. Seems like Carter's death hit you pretty hard. Yeah, she was a good one. We were a real team. Joining Lone Star helped me in all sorts of important ways, no doubt about it. I really embraced being a cop, studied my ass off. Now, no matter how hard I worked, I was never more than a model cop with a brutal streak. There were plenty of assignments that were perfect for a big, mean orc like me. Assignments that would have fed my need to hurt people. But I met Carter about a year in, and she changed things. She talked about values and goals and priorities and constructing the life you want to live. She was a real trip. Not my thing. She sounds wise. He pauses, stretching for a moment. Never thought about that word as a way to describe her. Wise. From an outside perspective, I guess you'd say that. But to me, she was just grounded. She knew who she was, where she was going, what got her there. Carter understood how the world worked, but compartmentalized it so she could focus on making a life for herself that made sense. She kept me focused. When Raymond asked me to meet him in Hong Kong, I had a feeling I was going to wind up going off the reservation if it didn't bring Carter along. Now she's gone. Here I am. Might be time to stop looking for someone to hold your leash. Man, I wish you'd put that a different way, but I get what you're saying. Don't want to be anyone's attack dog anymore. He folds his arm across his chest and nods to himself, satisfied. What made you decide to become a cop? I needed structure. Bad. You know that better than anyone. I was already hardcore when we met Mr. Ultraviolence. I'd do anything to get a rise out of the guys I was rolling with. Gouging eyes, inverting knees, curb stomping. Shit got me the cheers. I was like a pit fighter, bloodletting for the crowd, and I learned to enjoy it. But I never learned how to block out the memories of their screams when I was lying in bed at night. The guilt started eating me alive, and then I was scared to be alone with my thoughts, so I tried to drown them out with all the things you drown things out with. Pretty messed up when we met. He shakes his head sadly. Yeah, I was, but I got a lot better when we found a squad together, and even better later when we went to live with Ray. Still a violent son of a bitch, but basically under control. It was because of you. You were the voice of reason and the brains. Sounds about right. Of course it does. When we ran the streets together, I was the muscle and you called the shots. You pointed and I hit. But later, after Ray got me some counseling, I realized that I let you call the shots so that I wouldn't have to, because I knew that what I wanted was wrong. Following your lead, I was deflecting my own guilt onto you. It was your decision, not mine. I could just knock heads and walk away clean, don't look at me, I'm just doing what I'm told. Then you left. Without you there, I knew I was in serious trouble. Poster boy for anger management issues. Raymond could provide a stable environment, a decent therapist, and money for prescriptions, but Raymond, he's an egghead engineer with a philanthropic streak, not a drill sergeant. And a drill sergeant was what I needed. I needed structure and discipline in a way that he couldn't offer me. I needed a cage to keep myself in line. So I found myself a cage made of rules and procedures and training. Lone Star. Raymond helped me with my application and provided a decent character reference. I got in and helped a lot. Lone Star got me where I needed to be. Now it's all gone and you're back. You've been waiting a long time to ask me about the night I left, haven't you? I guess I have. It's about what you were doing before you got thrown into that corp facility. You said you had a friend who was in a bind, but that was all you could say. How'd it go? Nah. Is there nothing to talk about? Or is it, not, I wonder. Because technically, like, what brought us into, like, what got us started in Seattle, like, in the first game was the death of a friend. And then in Dragonfall, of course, we have that run where everything goes wrong. So I wonder how are these lines of dialogue going to continue? I wonder. Like, obviously I don't want to say more either way, but will I get to, like, elaborate to well, fine. Just K-Walk, really. Nothing to talk about. Nothing. No reason to pry any further. Whatever you say. Ah, shame. I wanted him to press further. I was thinking about that way. You ever think about when we were kids? He begins moving through some sort of pattern, maybe Tai Chi. I try not to. What are you talking about exactly? How about, before Raymond and Maloney? Huh, in the dark times. I'm not exactly talking about an idyllic youth here. Sleeping in dumpsters, running from ghouls, fighting over scraps. He stops moving, drifts off for a moment. Defending your territory. If we hadn't found that spot in the abandoned building, found Lockjaw and Double Tray, we probably wouldn't be here. So weird to think about that now. I mean, we realize that we're teenagers, right? Younger than Gobbet. Felt so old back then, but Lockjaw couldn't have been more than 17 tops, and Double Tray, he was only 13 when he pauses again, lost in thought. What were you thinking about back then? Just thinking about that thing, DT used to say. Returns to his patterns. He manipulates an imaginary soap bubble between his hands. Improvise, adapt, overcome. So you beat the street. I remember Double Tray saying that. It was why we were living between the red hot nukes and the 162s. Crazy ass dwarf anarchists on one side and flesh eating ghouls on the other. Those the days you long for? No. I was just thinking it's the same now as it was back then. His raspy baritone fills the space between you, bridges it, survive and watch each other's backs. Yeah, I know. Let's talk later. Nah, later would be good. Don't get me wrong, catching up's nice, but I'm not used to it being as social as this. It's one of the reasons why it was so nice to work under Carter. We both appreciated long silences. If you'd rather I didn't come by... I didn't say that. Difference between I don't feel like talking right now and never speak to me again, Kira. Subtle, but I think you can find it if you try. I don't know, Duncan, I'm pretty slow. Yeah, you can say that again. His lip curls into a smile. Oh, good talk. Catch up with you later. We'll always be a little sarcastic and self-deprecating. Isabel's jacked into the octopus. That's not a sentence I ever expected to say. Her body sits inert. Also, she should be on this side. Her breathing shallow. As you approach, an image blossoms onto the largest of the octopus's view screens. Hello down there. It's good to see you again. She smiles down on you from the monitor, her outline scintillating with blue-white light. She looks peaceful, at ease. It's good luck on you, isn't it? I've spent months customizing this avatar. She feels more real to me than my own skin. You look happy in there. I suppose I am. It's a comfort thing. As long as I'm jacked in, I can be whoever I want to be, whatever I want to be. Out there in meat space, I usually feel uncomfortable in my own skin. The avatar offers you a lopsided smile. I'd probably just live in here if I could. I've heard about Deckers who tried that. It didn't turn out well. Dehydration's a bad way to go. I know, and of course I'm only joking, but truth be told, I do spend most of my time out there wishing that I were back in here. You're a Decker, you must know what I'm talking about, the freedom of it. It's hard to live in a cage of meat when you know how sweet it feels to leave your body behind. She pauses for a moment, considering, then her avatar shimmers forward, filling the screen. A slight frown crosses her face. You know, Kira, I've been thinking about the question you asked me a little while back. The one about the walled city? The avatar fidgets. The one I dodged. I mean, I remember. I wasn't trying to cheat you out of your answer. I want you to know that. It's just that talking about the walled city is problematic for me. I can oh, what? I didn't want to actually click that. There's something about the I understand about the Barons. No, it's not that. I'm not explaining myself correctly. It isn't that I'm tortured by bad memories or anything like that. The problem is that I can't remember my childhood. I kind of figured that, really. The walled city, that entire chapter of my life, is nothing but a blur to me. I can give you the general information about life on the inside. The specifics of my own experience are gone. Do you have amnesia or something? Something like that. There were a variety of factors in play. The upshot of all this is that there are things I can tell you about, but only a few and only in bold strokes. Don't expect any personal stories. I couldn't share them even if I wanted to. So if that's okay with you, if you'll be satisfied with trivia and urban legends, we can talk. Just say the word. Otherwise, well, at least now you know why. I mean, anything would help. Alright, I can do that. Her avatar turns, begins to pace on the screen, where she steps spiderwebs of light spread across the tiled ground of the octopus's sculpted matrix hub. When I think of the walled city, the thing that stands out the most in my mind is the legends, the mythology of the place. If I hadn't lived with them, I might have found those stories fascinating. The scintillating figure turns to you on the screen. Buh. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you know that Kowloon Walled City is supposed to be cursed? That's what the locals believe. We had ghost stories and everything. Ghost stories? Her avatar nods. Once again, I should have gotten academic. Our own homegrown legends about things that haunted the walled city, demons from another place, the Yama Kings. Walled cities possessed by demons? Tell me whatever you can. It's probably be easiest to think of them like urban legends. Our own little pantheon of monsters and morality tales to frighten ourselves with at night. The stories are still clear in my mind, even after everything that happened. Everyone in the walled city believed them. You can get out of the walled city if you make a deal with Fu Mang. Cut the hearts from the 44 people closest to you and bring them to him. He will reward you with riches. Hold on. How many people actually know 44 people that are, like, close to them? Don't go under that arch, or Kianya will catch you. The avatar grabs at the air, its hands leaving glowing trails as they move. She'll rip out your teeth, tie your tongue in a knot, and make you her slave for eternity. We had Qi Xiang, our own homegrown judge of souls. Ugh. People would let themselves be flayed alive in hopes that he'd reawaken them in a better life. Then we had Lam Bai, the Ebony Queen, who'd teach you to hide so well that you'd slowly mutate into a cockroach. The avatar cocks its head, smirking. Dismissive gesture. It's all bullshit, of course. But everybody in the walled city believed it. Why does everyone in the walled city believe them? Because they're an excuse. My parents and neighbors, their whole generation, invented the things to explain away their own feelings. I can't get ahead because demons are keeping me down. Woe is me, woe is me. It's almost embarrassingly transparent when you really look at it. Lam Vi turning people into cockroaches. It's just a Kafkaesque trope layered onto a morality tale. Chi Xiang, he's just Anubis with a different coat of paint. And you know that archway I mentioned, the one where Qian Ya was supposed to haunt? I knew someone who found it. There was nothing on the other side but concrete. It's all superstitious drivel, Kira. The misery in the walled city isn't the fault of demons or devils. We created it, and we perpetuate it. We blamed made-up monsters for our own failings. There's nothing more pathetic than that. What about the, shared dreams? I don't know. Mass psychosis, or maybe something magical. But it isn't them. They aren't real. They can't be. Anyway, it's enough for now, huh? I'm sure that gives you plenty to chew on. My obligation to give you an answer is satisfied, I think, so let's talk about something else. How'd you lose your memories? I'd rather not go into it. It's personal. Suffice to say, I've never missed them, at least not until now. Well, if you ever want to talk about it, great. I'll keep that in mind. I've got to go. She's not really the most interesting character that we have on our team. Gobbet looks up from a dented tin of oysters at the sound of your approach. Harat's madness and folly scurry from her hips up to her shoulders. Two sets of beady red eyes fix themselves on you. Hey, Seattle. Oyster. She spears a gray lump of seafood with a fingernail, extends it to you. It smells like low tide at a municipal pier. Sure, why not? You pop the rubbery wad of flesh in your mouth and chew. An explosion of lukewarm brine is your reward. Yum. Good, right? Half-repressed memories of dumpster diving in the Barrens dance a merry jig in your brain as the mangled oyster slides down your throat. I've had worse. Delicious. I wouldn't go that far. It's seafood, and it isn't made of soy. It makes it good in my book. She tilts back the tin, drains the remaining juice, and then flicks it into the overflowing bin at her side. So what do you need? You know, Bolt Hole's a pretty mediocre name for a ship. You ever consider changing it? Yeah, sure. Considered it a bunch of times. Never really cared enough to actually do it, though. She shrugs. You want to call her something else? I'm open to it. The Dowager Empress is nice. Let's call her the Kraken. The Big Texas. Tell me you don't love it. Oh, geez. Do I want to... I will say, like, the Defiant is one of my favorite, like, all-time spaceships out of Star Trek. So, how about the Defiance? Aye, aye, Captain. Defiance it is, she nods thoughtfully. It's not too bad. I think the others will be happy with it. So, how do you like... how do you like life here, anyway? It's fine. Shaping up. Having new roomies is always nice. She smiles. How are you enjoying your cabin? Comfy enough for you? Better than some of the places I squatted in back at Barrens. I've heard stories about the Redmond Barrens. Sounds like a real winner of a place. Kellen isn't any better, of course, but at least our little slice of home is safe. It's handy having a mob boss on our side. Handy. Auntie Cheng's definitely that. She half frowns. Don't know if I'd say she's on our side, though. Well, okay, I know what you mean. Of course you do. Let's change the subject, huh? I'd rather not think about the old woman right now. How to be a better Shadowrunner. So remember that, do you? I sort of just assumed you'd laugh it off. No dice, wizened mentor. You offered, now pay up. She straightens. Okay, how about this? I'll tell you a story about a run gone bad. You tell me what you'd have done in the runner's place, and then we'll compare notes on your answer. How's that sound? Works for me. She sweeps a tangled rope of hair out of her eyes and back over one pointed ear. After a moment of silent contemplation, she bites her lip and nods. Okay, so this is a story from early in my career. I was a part of a team here in Hong Kong, but I did some occasional moonlighting for another group based out of Macau. I was a busy kid. So you were like, what, 12 years old? Her eyes narrow in mock indignation. You say that like I couldn't have been. When I was 12, I could have destroyed you. And also, I was... Ooh, ow, sorry. I was 16, practically an adult in orc years. We grow up fast. Anyway, the job was a hit on this tower, sort of a trid multiplex / apartment complex. Sure, they got them in Seattle, too. You know the kind. 7 huge screens, monster concession stand, coffin apartments on top of barnacles like what? Like, coffin apartments on top like barnacles on a whale. Best way to watch Urban Brawl. She nods. Good, you know what I'm talking about then. Our client wanted us to break into one of the apartments. Story was that next to hers, a guy named Boggs lived there. She'd been cooped up with him until about a week prior, and things went sour in a big way. She wanted us to get back some things that Boggs kept when he kicked her out. Scared the shit out of him, bloody him up a bit, make it look like a robbery. You know the drill. Sounds more like a job for gangers than Shadowrunners. Let's not disparage it a little bit. Yeah, I did some stuff like that. Pretty bush league gig, but the pay was decent enough. Not the sort of thing you'd turn down. So anyway, Sibilance, who's our group leader, had a plan. We knew that we had to go in quiet, because the Metroplex had a panic system wired directly to the HKPF. If we'd gone in shooting, we'd have been drowning in cops within 10 minutes. Sib thought we could maybe take advantage of the apartment's terrible soundproofing and kick in Boggs' door when the movie got loud. We'd camp out near his doorway, wait for the ceiling to start raining plaster, and smash our way in with his neighbors none the wiser. Sounds kind of familiar. Why I know have academic, I should have taken, I don't even have karma, do I? No, I don't. There's no way that would work. I don't know. Might have if things had gone different. That's what we did, so pipe down and let me tell you the rest of the story. So we waited in the hall, just like Sibilance planned. We had a guy on the elevator, another at the stairs. I was waiting by the floor's communal kitchen. Sib took up a position by the door. She had these cyber legs she dumped a ton of Nuyen into. Hydraulic jacks, strength enhancements, the works. Girl could probably leg press a dump truck. She paused for a moment. Come to think of it, most of her plans involved kicking things. Something a little sad about that. Hey, if that was her thing, you know. You're very supportive. I'd have preferred to work for someone who thought with her head instead of her robot legs. Anyway, we heard a boom from downstairs, felt the walls shake with the reverb. Sib wheeled back and gave the door a massive kick just as she'd planned. From where I was standing, I couldn't really see what happened next. I could hear a massive crack as her boot slammed into Duraplast. The door flew off its hinges. Exploded off might be a more accurate phrase. A second later, we heard an ungodly crash. There was a moment of silence, then Sib let out this little gasp. The apartment was in shambles. Looked like a hurricane had hit it. Everything was trashed, everything but the door, which was miraculously still in one piece. Remember, this was a coffin apartment. It wasn't much wider than the door was to begin with. And Boggs, oh, what was left of him was under the door, too. Well, you got the rough him up part right. Unfortunately, he wound up a lot rougher than he was supposed to be. Her nose crinkles in discomfort. The door really did a number on him. Ribs sticking out of the skin, that kind of thing. It was a bloody mess. So, yeah, Boggs was dead. Stuff we'd been sent to the apartment to recover had been smashed to bits, and then the building alarm went off. So that's the situation. Our payday's smashed. My temporary teammates are all standing around with stupid looks on their faces. The cops are coming. I'm standing by the kitchen. She plants her hands on her hips, smiling. What would you have done in my place? Let's see. Technically speaking, given the mechanics of the game, if that's what we're so inclined to do, let's see. mean, I figured that, like, there's probably no real right answer here. I don't know, actually. Would there be a correct answer? Look for blackmail material to protect myself from a soon-to-be angry client. Tried to improvise. What do we want to say? What do we want to say? Was there anything in the kitchen you could use to resolve the situation? Good thinking. As it happens, there was, and I knew just what to do with it. Thought popped in my head, and I just went with it. She taps her temple with a smile. There's a lesson to remember, Seattle. First answer you come up with is almost always the best one you're going to have, so just roll with it. Don't second guess yourself. Don't hesitate, just act. You'll live longer that way. Oh, okay. Now, when I think crowded theater, I think a place where you can't shout fire because it'll cause a panic. And then I thought cops don't charge into burning buildings. They help people get out of them. As it happened, I had the means to create a real, genuine fire. Sitting right across from me, a pair of industrial ovens. So, you set the building on fire. I encouraged it to burn, opened the gas vents wide, set the range on a timer, and motored back into the hallway. The others had started arguing amongst themselves. I told them to snap out of it and follow me down into the lobby. I waited to clear the hallway before an errant spark took the whole floor out. Unfortunately, the rest of the group wouldn't listen. Sib and the rest of the team were too busy arguing about the relative merits of her let's kick things really hard and see what happens tactical system to want anything to do with me. I shouted back to them that the kitchen was going to explode and continued down the hallway. Just like I'd planned, I got out of that run in one piece. So did every single one of the people in the multiplex. My fire plan worked beautifully. If the rest of the team had listened to me, they might have gotten out of the building too. Kind of a bummer they didn't, but at least the run turned out well for me. How? Well, I couldn't collect any pay because the run had been a disaster, but after the explosion I got to ride in the front of a fire truck and they gave me cookies and a blanket. I wound up dating one of those firemen a few weeks later. All things considered, it could have gone a lot worse. She claps her hands together and rubs them, a satisfied look on her face. So, Seattle. Laughter disappears from her voice and her expression goes serious. It's like somebody flipped a switch. Suddenly, the look in her eyes is shrewd, calculating. Tell me, what's the moral of the story? What lesson was I trying to convey? Don't go on runs with idiots. Fire solves all problems. I mean, you specifically did say, do we want to be a Joker, or do we want to just, like, I really like the smart answers, like, go with your gut, I guess. She nods sagely. That's right. Trust your impulses and don't be afraid to wing it. Almost any action is better than no action at all. Once you're committed to doing something, you've got to follow it through, though. No arguing or hand-wringing. Just do it. Just do it! If you get caught up in your own head, agonizing over past mistakes, well, don't be surprised if you wind up dead. A kitchen fire can take you down as easily as a cop's bullet if you stand around and let it. Cool. Are you certain the sibilants and the rest of the Macau team are dead? She shrugs. They weren't with me when I got evacuated with the rest of the moviegoers. I never saw them leave the building, and I haven't heard from them since. I guess it's possible somebody made it, but I don't really run in those circles anymore. Odds are good that if anyone from the Macau team did survive, they'll have died off by now from sheer incompetence. Shadowrunning's an unforgiving business. You don't get to make too many mistakes. Did you just make that up? Seattle, I'm hurt. It all went down exactly like I said it did. She pauses. Well, except for a couple of embellishments here and there. They make it a better story, artistic license and all that. She leans back and stifles a yawn. Madness and folly dart up to her left shoulder and lock their beady eyes on you. Hate to break it to you, kiddo, but I'm beat. It's been a long day. Lesson's over for now. We'll pick it back up next time. Watch who you're calling kiddo, kiddo. I'll catch you next time. It sounds good. I have my next lesson ready and waiting, too. She makes a brushing motion with her fingers. Scurry along now. Your mentor needs her rest. You're having too much fun with that, I think. Okay, so we're gonna call it, and then we're going to, I think, talk to our Russian buddy down here. Oh, is the ghoul in here? Heh, he is. We're not going to talk to him because we are jerks and we are discriminatory against ghouls. I don't know if that's actually, that's not the actual reason, but no, we're going to talk to our Rockter buddy here, and then go on one of these last 2 runs that we have. Kidnap? We're gonna kidnap. I think we're gonna kidnap somebody. So that should be awesome. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.